Hi everyone, my name is Nicole Miyuki and this is Let's Make Art, and we letter a new project together as a community every week. And this week we are doing, actually I should say this month, we're doing your dot journaling. So for this one I wanted to show you, we are going to be making some goals for yourself. It's January, it's the first month of the year, and we thought as a community it would be great to set goals, and I want to show you how you can lay this out so that you can do it on your own. So the steps that I'm going to be doing are, there's only 3 steps, is I'm going to do these 2 different layouts, and I'm going to show you how I like to do it in pencil first, and then I'm going to show you how to add color, and then we're going to outline either in black or blue. So that's all we're going to do together. And in addition, there are banners. So on this one, I'm going to do 2 different banners. And I just want to say this now, there's a practice handout that you can get to guide you how to do that on our website at letsmakeart.com if you find this project. Okay, the supplies that I'm using, oh, there's 2 handouts, fake out. I made you something else. There's a goals one, so we'll go over that to practice so that you can write out your cool lettering. Okay, I'm gonna use the back of this though to show you the different supplies that, if you have our box, they come in, if you'd like to get them as well. So this is Tombow, this is 623, that's a brush pen. This is also a brush pen, but it's a different one, it's a little bit smaller. This is the Pentel Fude. This is another Tombow that is dual-sided, so you get 2 different sizes. This is the twin tone. This color is...
Do you want them to see those pens?
Nah.
No? Okay.
Do you want to see them? You can see them.
There you go.
I care about you guys, I promise. I do want you to see them. Okay, this color, I don't remember. Oh, Sax Blue.
Yep.
Sax Blue.
I'm going to be buying a sax for me to learn how to play.
While writing with this color pen.
Yes. It'll be hard.
This green is the Zebra mild liner one, and so you saw it's cool because it has 2 different tips. This is more of like a highlighter type of tip. That is sea green, blue green.
Blue green.
I got it wrong every time. And this is a micron pen, size 05. I'm also going to be using my mechanical pencil and maybe my large eraser, so you can have those handy if you do as well. The journal that we are using is from Carpe Diem, and it's a dot journal. So I'm going to keep this here. Okay, so first step is I'm going to lay this out. This is, if you want to see, this is what we did the first project. Second project, we went through going over different headers, which actually you can use any of these for your headers here. So if you don't want to do these ones, you can pick one of the ones that we went over last week together. Okay, so when you're laying this out, this is the reason why I like to use a pencil, is because this way I can figure out and see what I like best. So on this one, what I did was I'm going to draw myself 2 different boxes. So I'm going to show you 2 different layouts. Like I said, can they see both of these?
If you put it to the right, yes.
Okay, perfect. Let me do this one first.
Maybe farther to the right.
Okay. Good?
Perfect.
Okay. So, goals of 2020. For this one, I thought it'd be cool if you categorize them by different categories. So it could be personal, maybe creativity, maybe it's your business if you have a business, or health goals, gym goals.
Family goals.
Family goals. There's so many different categories that you can do, so I thought this would be a great way, then you can add them bullet point in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sketch out, and I love, the reason why I love doing journaling with dots is that I can draw a straight line by just following them. So I'm going to draw 2 different boxes, and then if you'd like to, you can do like what I did here. So I added a little banner, so that's the header of those parts. And so I took 2 squares, and then I overlapped and added a little ribbon part of it. So, like that. And then for the top, you can choose whether you want to do more of a block type of style or more of a script style lettering. For this one, I'm going to show you how you can do it in script. So kind of sketch it out. And then whatever year it is, maybe it's not 2020 and you want to do your own, whatever year it is that you're watching this in, is I'm going to draw a banner. So I'm going to show you guys both of these at the same time. Let me show you bigger here. So I'm going to do this other layout at the same time. So when we're doing a banner, there are, can they, oh, if I draw dark, they can see it, right?
Yep.
Okay. So there's 6 steps to drawing a banner. So I'm going to do this big one first, and then I'll do the smaller one again so you can see it. Is step 1 is if you want it curved, draw 2 parallel lines, and you can either make them straight or you can make them curved. I'm going to curve these ones. And then you're going to close them off. So that looks like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take this corner and this corner, and you're going to add the ribbon. So essentially it's going to be these 2 ends are going to look like they're folded in. So I'm going to add a curve here. So it's basically like an S, if you see the S right there. So that one. And this is also a S. Kind of like that, just a different shape. So that's step 3. Step 4 is you're going to draw the other side of this. So this is the bottom of this type of part of the ribbon, and then I need to draw the top. So I'm kind of eyeballing it. You can either make it the same size, or I'm going to make these just a little bit smaller, and then I'm going to draw the end part of it. So then do the same thing here. So I'm going to draw this time the bottom of this side, and then cap it off like that. And then we're looking at the back part, so if you guys can see this part. So it's open right now, so I need to close it, so that helps the eye see that that is part of that ribbon. And then what you can do is you can either color it in or you can add lines. Just do something to make it look a little bit different so that you can tell that it's the other side of the ribbon. It just helps the eye out. There you go, so that's how you draw that ribbon. So what you could do here is I did the same thing, but I just did this part of it. So I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to do 2 curved, cap it off, draw an S, draw the bottom to finish this off, and then cap it off so that it looks like it's connected, and draw a pattern. So there we go. So those are the steps, and like I said, if you're just watching this, we have a handout that you can get for free on our website at letsmakeart.com to be able to see all those steps, and you can print that out. Okay, so then on this one for goals, what I did was instead, just to show a different option, is if you don't want to do them as sections, maybe you're not sure what categories you want your goals to be, you just know that you have 5 really strong goals, you can just draw yourself, maybe there's 6. Draw yourself little circles, and we're going to color those in. Let's see. Then I'm going to fill this in. So this is your lettering. You can either take the same script style if you want, and you can put it in here. I'm going to show you how I made this more of a bubble style lettering. So if this is your first time seeing bubble style lettering, what I suggest to do is what I'm doing is I'm doing this. And so I'm going to start out, and I'll draw it darker so you guys can see. I'm just drawing out my letters in my block type of style, but I'm leaving a little bit of room in between. So that's my skeleton. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line on the outside with a little bit of space in between. And then I erase the inside of it. So that's way it looks hollow. So again, draw on the outside. And then, actually that kind of worked. So it depends on how wide you want your letters to be, will dictate how much space you leave in between or around your skeleton. And this also is really good if you are learning kind of the anatomy of letters, so you can tell that that A, how it's built. It's just also a good way to practice. Okay. And then when I'm looking at this, you can take a step back and see. So I noticed that it got kind of, the G got kind of close to my line here. So that's okay. I'm just going to erase this. Actually, I'm going to use this eraser. This eraser works really well. The top of your mechanical pencil one is good too for smaller things, but that's why I wanted to give you guys the bigger eraser, because it also works well on bigger things. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this down just a little bit.
Whenever I use an eraser, I always feel like it's like my big thumb, and it's so clumsy, and like I just erase all the wrong stuff.
Erase the wrong stuff?
Every time.
What, really?
Yeah,
Do you know that yeah?
A big eraser, a little eraser.
Maybe you're going like this instead of
just-
using the corner?
Then I just start over. Just erase all of it. New page.
New page. Okay. So that, oh, I need to add my year. 2020. Cool. That's step one. Okay, now I'm going to add some color to this. When you were doing this, don't worry so much about your pencil lines being so dark, because if you noticed is that I went back over it with black, so you won't see them at the end. If you are going over a lighter color, maybe you want to lightly, this is what I might do, is I might just lightly use this big eraser, kind of like what Keenan's saying. You can do it, just erase the whole thing, but I'm very lightly grazing over it rather than pushing hard into it. So that way it just creates a lighter line. So if you guys can kind of slightly see, that's lighter than this one. So that way you still have it as your guideline, but it's not super dark. Okay, so I'm gonna add some color. So I'm using my Zebra mild liner, and I'm using I'm just gonna call this the broad side, the more highlighter side. And I'm going
More highlighter side?
more highlighter. I'm gonna color this in. So I'm just gonna color the banner in. And then I'm gonna color this side in. If that gets too wide, you got this other side to color it in. So that might work easier if you're not used to using that other side. Okay, so color that in. Now I'm gonna do the ribbon parts of my headers. I'm gonna move this because that might be a lot to look at. Am I okay?
Down a little? Yes.
Yes, okay, perfect.
Oh wait, wrong banner.
Oh, sorry.
That was my fault. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
So yeah, no, that banner looks great.
Use this side. So yeah, I might switch off to do both sides for when I'm doing the side of the banner. And also you'll notice is that was just one stroke, that green. I'm gonna do this one to show you that if you wanted a darker color, you go over it twice. So it's just a little bit darker of a green. I don't know if you can tell that from the screen, but it's just a tad bit darker. Okay. Then I'm gonna do purple for this one. So I use my Tombow dual brush pen and the brush pen side of it because it's wider for me. The other side is a lot smaller. So I'm gonna color this whole thing in. Maybe if you want goals to be a different color, maybe you do that. I'm gonna show you how I'm just gonna color the whole thing in. So you'll notice that I am pushing hard on this to get the whitest part, rather than if I was here and holding like this and pushing, it would create a really skinny line. So if you want it to be thicker lines, try holding it from the bottom and then pushing harder. So even though I can see all these lines, that doesn't really bother me. But what I might do so that it creates a little bit of a difference is on this one, what I did was, can you guys see how it's darker here? So I drew a little bit of lines on it. So I'm going to do that again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw kind of blades of grass. And I'm just kind of whisking it just to create a little bit of color difference. And then I'm going to color this. So I'm not coloring the backs of the ribbon, since they look a little bit different, so I'm going to leave it like that. Even though they might still be purple on the other side, I'm just going to leave it like that. And then, I want to color in my circles. So these pens are great, even though you're probably used to using this Tombow dual brush pen as a lettering pen. It's still fun to use it to color things in. Okay, we are now, I'm going to do the outline and then I'm going to do the lettering last. So I'm going to bring this to life and I'm going to outline in black. So this is the Micron pen. So all I'm simply doing is tracing. You don't have to press too hard on these. So I'm just tracing over my lettering. So it really makes it pop. So I'm gonna add my lines in here. Okay, so I'm gonna fast forward and do all of this. So I'm gonna outline this in black. I'm gonna do this one in this pen so then you guys can see a little bit of a difference. And then I will meet you back at the end to do our lettering and finish it off. Okay, so I finished all of my outlining and I wanted to talk about a few things actually. So if you're having trouble drawing a straight line, don't be hard on yourself, even if it's a squiggly line. Keegan and I were saying that dots are great. It's okay, they don't need to be perfect. That's why this journal is here to actually help you.
Yeah,
so,
they're so useful.
Yeah.
Straight lines, zigzags, squares.
So don't freak out over that. But a tip that you can do is, so when I do it, is I found for me personally, is that it's easier for me to draw lines coming towards me like this, rather than like this. So maybe experiment and see which one is helpful for you. And the other thing is that experiment whether you have your hand grounded or you move it. So what I like to do is I like to glide. So I move my hand, so I start here and then I glide my hand like that, rather than staying here and planting and then drawing like that. If it's a shorter line, maybe, but you can't draw as long of a line. So that's a tip that might help you figure out if that's not something you're used to. The other thing I wanted to note is that when you're doing your boxes is that they can be any size. Maybe it's one really long one. Keenan was asking me how I figured out how to make them, how I decided how big they were. I kind of just guessed and did about half of it. So if you want to do the math and you want to make it perfect and count how many dots, you can do that. But again, this is your journal. This is a very personal thing. So don't stress over it being perfect. And maybe that's one of your goals you write down.
Ooh, also, if you don't want to just do 2 goals, you can make smaller boxes and do 3 goals. 3 boxes.
3 categories?
3 categories.
Yeah.
The words are there. The meaning, not always.
Yeah, and if you want, it's a full spread. You can have it where this is just, these are 2 examples, but maybe it's one whole spread, so it's 4 different categories that you do have, or 6, so you have 3 on each one. So totally up to you how you make it your own. Okay, I'm gonna outline this first, or I'm gonna do my block lettering, and then I'm gonna end with my script lettering, so then we can cap it off with that. So on here, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to leave a little bit of line on the top and the bottom, And when I write my word, if you want to do it in pencil first, please feel free to do that. I'm just gonna go for it though, and I'm gonna eyeball and keep a little bit of space just so that it's not hugging right up against it. It has a little bit of breathing room. And I'm just doing it in a block font. So these are my personal. I'm gonna add my personal goals there. So personal, and then I'm gonna use the bigger sides. There's two different sides of this guy, the twin tone, Sax Blue. And here's a prime example of lines not being perfect. You guys can see that that line went a little bit above. So I'm gonna get creative because if I draw my C, it might get a little small. I'm just gonna draw some dots. And then when it gets wider, write the word creativity. So it doesn't all have to be the same. Maybe you draw dots the rest of the way. I'll just do that to show you. So yeah, that's how you can make it work with whatever you have. So that was a perfect example to show you guys. Okay, then I'm gonna outline this one to make it pop. So I'm simply going to do the same thing that I've done before, and I'm going to trace over my pencil lines. But then what I'm also going to do is I want to make this pop. So can you guys see how, if you look at specifically the G, this G is just pretty simple and plain, but on this one it pops a little bit more because there's a slight shadow. So I'm going to draw on that shadow while I'm doing this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hug the line right up against it, and I'm just going to draw on the left side of each of these strokes. So right here, right here, and right here, because that's the left.
Left and right always confuse me.
So that way it looks like it pops a little bit more. So I'm going to do the same thing here. And so you can dictate how thick you want that shadow to be. Maybe it's super thick, which will make it look like it disappears a lot further away. So that's another way you can do it. These are always interesting. So one thing when you're doing an A is try and make that line be pretty, make it look like it's one line. So have this line and this line match up. That will help it. That's one trick if you're doing an A and it looks a little funky to you. That might need to just be adjusted. Okay, so yeah, maybe you color in your goals and you make it a different color. And these pens are great, these Micron pens, because they don't smear. So these are really great to use and have in your toolbox, which is why I wanted to include it for you guys. Okay. There we go. Oh, I'm funny. I think when I did this one, I might have done the same thing as you guys saw me make it worth creativity. I think I might have drawn goals and I realized I had too much space at the end, so I added an exclamation point. So I didn't do that on here because it actually fit, but that's what you can do. Goals! Got a lot of them. Okay, final step is we're going to do the lettering part of goals. Where's that? Oh, it's this other side. Okay. Oh, wow. I guess on this worksheet when I made it, we could have done this in the beginning. So whenever you guys do this video, but I added a space for you guys to practice that as well. So if you want to use that here, but I'm just going to go over this part because it's going to be the last part of this. And so when it comes to brush lettering, I wanted to do this last though, because I don't want anyone to feel, if they've never done brush lettering before, I don't want you to be intimidated and think you can't execute this project because you've never done brush lettering. As you saw, I never touched a brush pen until now, and you can make this work. If you do want to learn how to do brush lettering, this is how I suggest for you to start to do it. So brush pens are flexible. So what that means is that you can create thin lines and you can create thick lines by the amount of pressure. Whereas if I was using this pen, for example, whether I press light or hard, it makes the same thickness of a line. So that's the beauty of these pens, is that they're more flexible. And so what's happening is that I have the words goals here written out, but if you look really closely, you'll notice that they're a little bit broken up. And this is on purpose, because what I want you to do is I want you to take it slow. So what's actually happening is these are all the strokes that together make up this word. So I did this first so that you could see you can trace over and practice. And then you take it and you do it here as well. So thin on the up, thick on the down, thin on the up. So it's the first part of the G. And then this is a J type of shape. So thick on the down, thin on the up. So hard pressure, light pressure. Then I'm going to do it here. So hard pressure, light pressure. Might need to cap that off if that didn't connect. So there's my G. So those two equal G. An O is an O. So hard pressure, light pressure. I like to add a loop to mine. You can just make it like that if you'd like. So then there's the O right there. So the A is a C. Like that, and then this shape. So thick on the down, thin on the up, thick on the down, thin on the up. And the L is just an L. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to go thin, thick, thin. So same thing as I'm going to connect this line that I ended on the A. It's going to connect that, thick, thin. So this is a little bit different. Is the S is actually, this is why I made this line higher, is it's actually a combination, and it's part of the L. So this is the end of the S. It's this kind of interesting shape, depending on how you make your S's. So it's thick, and then thin, thick, and then thin. There you go. So that's how you can break it apart and create that word. So you can practice it again here. There's a little bit more space for you guys to do that. So I'll do it one more time on my final one to show you guys. This is a good spot?
Where are you writing?
Right here.
It's actually right in the middle of gas verbiage.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to take my time and go thin on the up, thick on the down, thin on the up. And so what I like to do is I actually sometimes lift up and then do the next stroke. So that way I'm not just going on autopilot and thinking, okay, I'm just going to draw it like that. So instead, I want you to take it a little bit slow. Let's go thick on the down, curve around. My hand got crampy, so I'm just going to lift up. If that ever happens to you, just lift up. I'm going to curve that around a little bit. That got a little choppy. It's okay. Okay, so thick on the down, then on the up. So the A is a C. And then this part, lift up. If it ever gets like that and it's not fully connected, just draw it back in. Totally works. Then on the up, thick on the down. Oh, this S, I naturally, so these are two different S's. So you can either do the cursive style S, or this one is just a little bit different. So I'll show you. Thin, thick, thin. So you don't have to connect it if you don't want to. Okay, then I would let that dry for a little bit. I think if I were to use my eraser and erase my pencil marks right away, it might smear a little bit. So I'm going to give it some time. And that is it, guys. That's your way to create your own goals in your personal notebook. And I didn't say this in the beginning, but I'm going to say this now. If goals are something that you're a little intimidated to write for yourself, maybe this is a great time to pause and do it for yourself. Keenan and I were talking before, and goals aren't something that he likes to set. They're not something that I do a lot of time, but I've learned over time that if I set myself really big goals, then if I don't achieve them, then I feel like a failure. So instead, maybe can you break it down? maybe you break this personal and you have one big personal goal and you break it down into 5 steps that are actually actionable. So that way when you do one, you can cross it off and you feel good about yourself, and that'll help you to train yourself to want to continue to set your goals and to reach them rather than feeling like you failed yourself and you just don't even want to start. So that's just a little fun tip for you guys if you are setting goals for yourself. You can take this lesson and write a to-do list, write anything, maybe you write books that you've read if you're a big reader. Take this, run with it, have so much fun, and I'm really excited to see what you guys create. We have a Facebook group called Let's Make Art Lettering that you can join if you're not a part of, and then we have an Instagram called Let's Go Make Art, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.